9 years ago, in game, we were in the Vanarama National League South. We've just been promoted from the Championship to the Premier League, and in this episode, Season 10 of the Road to Glory soap with Aveley, I need to try and put a squad together that can keep us in the Premier League. Let's see how I get on. Right, but this is where Season 10 starts, everybody. Please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel before we start, because I'm looking forward to this, but I'm not looking forward to this, because you look at the table from last season. This is how we've done in their competitions. So third round exit in both the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. In the Sky Bet Championship, we finished second, which is a massive achievement, 86 points, 12 points behind the league winners Sunderland. We did lose 12 games last season. The vast majority of them, all bar two of them, were away from home. But it's also we're the team with the most amount of losses in the top 5 of the Championship last season. This is going to be such a tough season being in the Premier League. If we look at the Premier League table from this season just gone, Hull, Forest and Ipswich have gone down. I'm assuming our affiliation with Crystal Palace is going to come to an end now that we're in the Premier League with them. They just about survived. I mean, we almost overtook each other, to be fair. That's how far we've come. The Crystal Palace were 3 points away from dropping into the Championship while we overtook them in the Premier League, and they are a senior affiliate. Man City won the league. United, Arsenal, Chelsea and Liverpool take up the other Champions League places, with Newcastle as well. So I'm assuming an English club won the Champions League last year. Then you got Tottenham, Bournemouth in the Europa League and Brentford in the Conference League. I mean, this is how it works out if an English club wins the Champions League and an English club gets one of the extra coefficient places. That basically the top half of the Premier League will qualify for Europe. You know, it's crazy how easy it can be to get into Europe. We're not getting into Europe. Now, if we look into our finances, we've got £23.7 million in the transfer budget to spend. We've got a wage budget of 361,000, meaning we've got 215,000 left to spend. That is nothing. I mean, if you think our weekly wage budget for the entire club is about what someone like Marcus Rashford or Declan Rice, someone like that, will be earning. I mean, if we actually go back and have a look, let's just click on Arsenal, Declan Rice, 300 grand a week. I mean, it is mental. Odegaard's 275. We go back again. Let's see how much Rashford's earning, provided he's still at Man United. I don't know. There you go. He's the captain. Marcus, 500 grand a week. I mean, he's on more than what he's on per week. What we would have to take a considerable increase in order to even match what he's earning per week as an entire club. Absolutely crazy. Really is mad. Now, in terms of transfers that are coming in already, we click on the future transfers. So these are the free transfers that are coming from where the Premier League clubs release their players. As an example, we're even taking on a player that Crystal Palace are releasing. Pretty much all of these are going to drop into the under-21s. We have got a couple of players that we're quite hopeful for, but just to run you through them, McMullen, we will train him to be a right winger. He's currently 2 stars current ability with 4 to 5 star potential. He could actually do a pretty decent job for us, but he's unambitious. Most of them are unambitious. Mike Patel's a goalkeeper. He's 1.5 star current ability with 3 to 4 star potential. He's basically just going to sit there under 21s as a backup goalkeeper should we need him. Then we've got Georgios Nikolopoulos, who is a striker, can't finish. He's currently 1.5 star current ability with 4 to 5 star potential. We'll train him up as an advanced forward, pressing forward, something like that. Then Piers McGoldrick. He comes in as a centre-back, 5'11" centre-back, so we'll be training him on the right side. He can already cross a little bit, so hopefully we can turn him into a semi-decent right-back for us, because we like our right-backs to attack. He's 1.5 star with 4 to 5 star potential as well. Then we go to Andrew Martin, who's either a right winger or a striker. We're going to train him as a striker as well. And he is currently 2-star current ability with 4 to 5-star potential. Again, unambitious. And finally, we have Kingsley Moses, who's an attacking midfielder. He's 1.5-star current ability with 4 to 5-star potential. So, yeah, they're all basically just going to sit there under 21s, which will hopefully give our dev centre a little bit of a boost, because we are below average squad for our under 21s, below average squad for our under 18s. So at least under 21s might look a little bit better. If we have a look at our, we're just going to finances in a minute, because I want to know, is it in the club info screen? Yeah, there we go. So affiliated clubs, we are still affiliated with Crystal Palace. I'm actually considering cancelling that now, even though technically, oh, there you go, playing in the same division will terminate the link between Crystal Palace and Aveley. So by the 1st of July, I imagine that is going to be cancelled. We will no longer have that affiliate club. If we look at our facilities, we're going to be playing on the Southend on Sea Stadium while there's renovation works being done to our stadium. It's not going to make our stadium particularly any bigger, I don't think, but at least by being in the Southend on Sea Stadium, it's a 9,400 seat stadium. It's still not big enough for what we want, but then again, our 5,076 capacity Parkside stadium is not going to be any good either. We have basic youth recruitment, we have fairly basic academy coaching, adequate training facilities, adequate corporate facilities. These are things that the adequate training facilities are things that could easily hold us back when it comes to getting players in. In terms of what we're looking to bring in, if we go to our tactics screen, this is what our first team looks like going into the new Premier League season. Basically, anyone we bring in needs to be an improvement on what we've got. If we end up bringing in a new attacking central midfielder, then Caterina will drop down as our backup and the new person will go into here. Our central midfield, I'm actually pretty happy because we've got Jacob Devaney and Bruce Pratt. By the way, these two have both been with us since our days in League Two. That is absolutely crazy that we are using central midfielders that have been with us since League Two. We do also have David Mutungura, who is also 3.5-star, the same as both of them, and can play both the ball-winning midfielder and the deep line playmaker role. And so we have adequate backup in that sense, but obviously we'd like to bring in at least one more central midfielder, because Adria Capdevila is not anywhere near it. He is still with us for another 2 years. We will look to see if we can move him on. In actual fact, let's ask the agent about market interest. There's going to be nothing he can do, which means there's no point asking an intermediary because they're just going to say that. And so the only other option is to put him on the transfer list and offer him out via the transfer room. So I'm going to work my way through players I want to do that with. Freddie Cook, Josh Karoma, Henderson Hall and Gideon Tete will all be leaving at the end of June when their contracts expire. I'm going to look at trying to move on a few of these. Reece Devine's another one that's been with us since League Two. Again, there's nobody interested in him. He's only on £2,000 a week, so hopefully we can find someone that wants him. Again, the intermediary is going to be a waste of time. So we'll offer him out via the transfer room. So yeah, I'm just going to work my way through that kind of stuff, look for players we can bring in, arrange pre-season friendlies, debate whether we continue going attacking or not, and I'll bring you back when we have some more information. First new signing in Leighton Alessandra comes in for £6 million from Everton, I believe it was, from Wimbledon. Oh no, from Everton, he was on loan at Wimbledon. Yeah, he comes in, he's an attacking midfielder, can play as a striker, but we're probably not going to be playing him there. Attacking midfielder, looks pretty decent, 4-star current ability, 4.5-star potential. The contract we've got him on, £17,500 a week. He does have a minimum fee release clause of 15.5 million. I'll happily take that if someone wants to pay that for him. And a relegation release clause of 9.2 million. And then a few of this sort of stuff in here as well. If we look at our tactic at where he would slot in, Leighton Alessandro will go in instead of Caterino. And there's an improvement already. Caterino would then slot down here somewhere as a backup player. We're also trying for a left back. If we can look at our transfers, we're trying for Junior Wosu, something like that. We're trying for him anyway. Good acceleration, reasonable amount of pace. He's a defensive, left back. Wing back on defend, was slot into our position quite nicely. He's meant to be 3.5-star current ability with 4-star potential. Again, looking at our tactic, he was slotting quite nicely here, where we've currently got Charlie Sayers, but to be fair, we were playing him there last season with Sayers in there. So if we can get in a 3.5-star current ability, that's a whole star improvement. I'll be quite happy with that. I'll let you know if we do get him or not. Junior Nosu comes in at the end of his contract on the 1st of July. He will slot, like I said, straight into a left-back position. Happy with that signing. It's another one we've got confirmed. I'm just going to show you the staffing situation. We've got a scout that's running out of contract. He's going to be leaving in a week or so's time. That would mean we've got 4 scouting positions we need to recruit for. We also need to recruit for a head physio. And a head of sports science. I don't know what our current sports scientist is, but I'm assuming he's not particularly good. To be fair, he's actually decent. We're going to apply to the board to ask if we can have more physios and if we can have more sports scientists as well, because we desperately need them. Even if we recruit them 2 positions, it's going to make hardly any difference to that. We are also allowed to bring in 3 more coaches. So we bring in a fitness coach because we're quite down on that. And if we bring in another 2 regular coaches, then that should also bump our goalkeeping coach bit up a little. So that's the staffing situation as well. Dynamics, in case you're interested, very good team cohesion at the moment. Club atmosphere is excellent and managerial support is excellent as well. Looking at the transfers, the transfer history, we have also sold Reece Devine to Walsall for £57,000. He was our left back. Only signed Devine as a last resort, goes to show why we're letting him go. We're trying to get rid of Capdevila, but no one's interested in him. We spoke to him. We've asked him to generate interest himself. He's happy to do so. So things are moving and hopefully moving in the right direction as well. If you've been watching the Bottoms Up series, you'll be well aware of my frustrations at not getting job offers. We've just been offered a job offer with Aveley by Brentford. We're not going to take it, obviously, because this is a one-club save. But, yeah, just thought it was worth mentioning. We're going to decline the interview. You decline the job interview with Brentford and we move on. I've also had a few issues as well with this guy, Eden Zagrova, wanting a new contract. Bear in mind, he's 33 years old. His contract runs out at the end of this season. I have no interest in keeping him here past this season, but he wants a 3-year deal. So I said, no, we're not prepared to offer you a new contract. He's not happy about it. I might have given him a threat or 2, which has increased his unhappiness. I went to release him on a free and the board blocked me releasing him because he's too valuable. So he could be a problem in terms of team cohesion. We'll have a look at dynamics. The club atmosphere has gone down. He wants a new deal to reflect his ability. He's not going to get one. In terms of being able to put him on a transfer room, I think that's what I'm going to have to do now. I did go to the intermediaries, but they were unable to find anything. I just want him out of the club now. So let's see. He'll either leave or we're going to have some problems. I win. He lost. 1.1 million. That'll do me. I'm going to accept it. I've confirmed the deal. Eden Zagrova is now out of Aveley. If any of the others want to mess with me, the same will happen to them as well. So I thought we'd come back for this because this is probably going to be quite important for us next season. So there's a new TV deal, rights deal that's been negotiated. It's a fixed length TV deal for 6 years. There's no change to the prize money, and total last season was 2.02 billion. It's the same this season. By the looks of it, they've just rolled over the deal. But this is a bit that is probably going to be of interest to us next season. If we do end up getting relegated, which I'm 100% certain we will, first year we're going to get 41 million, then 16, then in the second year 31 million, then 16 million. In the third year, for clubs not relegated one season after being promoted, we will be relegated one season after being promoted. Let's have a look at the transfers, and if we go back to the end of last season. You know about all of these. You know about Leighton Alessandra that came in as their attacking midfielder, can also play up front. And you know about Reece Devine that we sold as well. Moving into this season, Zagrove has gone for 1.1 million. There's been a few loans that have gone out as well. Capdevila has left on loan. In terms of new signings, Junior Nwosu, you knew about him. 4-star left back with 4.5-star potential. Really pleased with that signing, actually. Then we've got Ryan Giles, who's a 32-year-old, 3.5-star left winger. We needed to bring someone in because we had no one that was really comfortable playing on the left side. We've then brought in Liam Miller, who's also 32 years old, but can play left and right, so he can act as backup support. He's probably actually going to be our first choice left winger. Giles will come on and he can switch over, or we can move people about. We're fairly comfortable now with the left and right. We're bringing them two players in. Pat Bain has come in for 2.2 million as a bit of a backup centre-back, really. He's got some reasonable stats about him, 6'2", 3-star current ability, 4-star potential. Thomas Vankara is our new striker. He will be replacing Dara Costello. Costello had a good season last season, but he's down to like 2.5 stars now. This guy's 4-star. He's better in every department. He is 31 years old, but hopefully he can be the man that scores us the goals. And then a backup goalkeeper, Dan van den Brand. He's 3-star current, 3.5-star potential. He's basically exactly the same as Josh McNamara. So we are in a position where we've got a stronger backup goalkeeper. And if McNamara gets injured, I've got no problem bringing this guy in. If we have a look at what that does to our match day team, obviously this is with Nwosu still being injured. So for the first game, we will most likely put Abassi out there. It's on defend. He's a good defender. He's a young defender. The 2 stars doesn't bother me because he is a 4 to 5-star potential player, albeit at centre back. But I think he can do a good enough job out there. We do desperately need a defensive deep line playmaker type midfielder. We have been on the lookout, but there's not a great deal out there. At the moment, I'm kind of thinking I might train Ainsley Burbage to be able to play out there. In fact, if we do that now, training, there we go, that's what we wanted. We're training him as a defensive midfielder, ball-winning midfielder on defend. What do we usually do in a tactic? Is that usually on support? We can switch those around, that's not a problem. So, yeah, he's going to start being trained there now. We'll try and give him some minutes in there as well. And hopefully he can start to get some familiarity with that role. What we can also do is Mutangura can play either the deep line playmaker or the ball-winning midfielder. So we've got flexibility with him in there. He will be the first choice to come on. But if we get to the last 15, 20 minutes of a game, we might try and bring him on. We are looking at a real season of struggle this season. If we go to the season preview, I mean, 2,000 to 1 to win the league. Our nearest competitor is Burnley, that 300 to 1. I think that just about tells you everything you need to know. I'm really struggling to find where we're going to find wins this year. If we can get a win against the likes of Sunderland, Burnley, Norwich, Stoke, all those Palace, all those that are going to be in and around the relegation zone, you would imagine, then that will be great. But this team is not good enough. Players that I've wanted to bring in either chose to go somewhere else or they just wanted far too much money. If we have a look at the squad and how much we're paying, I mean, our top earner is our striker. It's on £36,500 a week along with Nwosu. Then we drop down to 27, 24, 21, 21, 20. Then we're into the teens, and then you get down to the squad players that are probably not going to be here for very much longer. So, yeah, it's been a tough transfer window. We are on match day. We play Bournemouth at home. I say at home, we're at Southend. And that's pretty much all there is really to show you. Dynamics, we can show you. Cohesion is good. Club atmosphere is good and on the way up. It was average. Managerial support is very good. And yeah, I think that's really just about all there is to show you. And we're going to play at the Steve Tilson Stadium, Southend-on-Sea. has undersoil heating, has a capacity of 9,400. In terms of the finances, it's not looking great. We're £668,000 in the red. We've got 7 million in the transfer budget, with about 50,000 left in the wage budget. So I am going to be looking for that deep line playmaker that I said about. But you usually start the season with your overall balance on a high, and you plummet as the season goes on. So I'm dreading to think what that's going to be come the end of the season. But we got here. We're in the Premier League. We need to give it the best we can. And part 2 of this video will be, we'll probably come back. Let's have a look at the schedule. We'll come back around the end of December time here. So probably just before we play Tottenham, and see how we're getting on. And more to the point, how badly we're probably doing. So let's head over to that part of the video, and I'll see you over there. Oh, this has been so tough. We are 19th in the English Premier Division. If you was expecting me to come back in this part of the video and say, look, we're in the Champions League places, yay! No, that's not happening. So let's have a look at the schedule. It makes a pretty depressing reading, really. We'll go up to, we'll forget the pre-season friendlies. We started off with 2-0, 1-0 and 3-1 defeats to Bournemouth, Tottenham and Wolves. Look at this though, in our Southend Stadium that we was in, Steve Tilson Stadium I think it was, 9,249, 8,750. I mean, that's like playing at Wembley compared to the 4,500, 5,000 we were used to. Then we picked up a win in the Carabao Cup second round against Crawley, which gave us enough confidence to get a 1-1 draw away from home against Burnley. We then played the next round of the Carabao Cup against Leeds and picking up a 1-1 draw but went through on penalties. But then we were back to losing again, 2-0 to Newcastle, 4-1 to Manchester City, 3-2 to Crystal Palace. That is a particularly bad result, given the fact that they're currently sitting one place above us inside the relegation zone. Then we had like nearly a month off between the away game against Crystal Palace and the home game against Brentford. So I decided to put in a couple of friendlies, one for confidence, boost of morale, that kind of thing. Another one because we were having to change tactic because we'd had the fans criticise their tactic. They weren't happy with it, blah, 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 blah. They actually criticised it after the Man City game. I mean, I thought that was a bit harsh, to be quite honest. But then they criticised it again after Palace, and I was like, we probably will have to change this. So it's getting us used to playing the 4-3-3, which seemed to work. We beat Brentford 1-0. We then beat Stoke 3-1. Then we had a defeat 2-0 against Liverpool, which, you know, it's Liverpool. Then in the Carabao Cup fourth round, we beat Mansfield 3-2. Then got a really credible draw, thanks to a very late equaliser, in a 1-1 draw against Chelsea. Then a 0-0 draw against Aston Villa. But then we kind of went back to losing ways again. Losing to Man United, losing to Sunderland, losing to Arsenal. Man United and Arsenal you can't really fault us for, but it was disappointing to lose to Sunderland. Then we lost 3-1 to West Ham. Then we had the Carabao Cup quarter-final against Burnley. I mean, we've had a really favourable draw in the Carabao Cup. We're actually in the semi-finals after a 3-2 win against Burnley. Then we beat Norwich, who are rock bottom of the league. They make us look like Real Madrid. That we beat them 3-0. Van Kara has been pretty decent for us, actually. He's not set the world alight or anything like that, but he's been probably what you can hope for given how we are and the way we're playing and whatever. Then a 2-2 draw against Newcastle and a 1-1 draw against Southampton, followed up most recently by a 2-0 defeat against Brighton. That is basically our first half of the season. We go into the second half of the season. We've got Tottenham next at home. You will notice as well that Newcastle at home, 5,000 solid. Southampton at home, 5,000 solid. That's because Newcastle was their first game back inside our Parkside Stadium with a capacity of 5,000, all seating, undersoil heating, very posh. I mean, you should see the amenities. It looks gorgeous, but it's way too small. You know, 5,000, we're never going to get the money coming that we want. That being said, looking at finances, our overall balance is 14.4 million. We were over $500,000 in the red at the start of the season. And usually with Football Manager, you go like that with your finances, you know, it plummets. from the start of the season to the end, and then you get the money come through at the end of the season, your finances go back up again. But for some reason, ours has been going up, and I don't know how. We are currently overspending on the wage budget, but that will be due to transfers, which we'll get into here now. Last time he was with us, we hadn't signed Christopher Van Eldik from VVV Venlo. We signed him for 1.8 million. He's a central midfielder, 3-star current with 4-star potential. He's a pretty decent player, can play there or there. 25 years old, Dutch player. I thought, yeah, let's bring him in. We need extra bodies in that midfield anyway. Well, now the fact that we're playing the 4-3-3, we really do need additional players. So we brought in Joe Hobbs. It says 10 minutes, 5 million up front with 5 million in instalments. And he can play the ball-winning midfielder role in the centre of midfield, which will suit us really well. 3-star current with 4.5-star potential, 23 years old. Again, he looks decent, kind of player that if we go down into the Championship, which it looks like we're going to, he'll be really decent down there. If we go to our squad, we can actually put Joe Hobbs in our squad. He'll take Jacob Devaney's place there. I'm a bit concerned why he's only coming up as 3 stars now. But anyway, he is an improvement on Devaney. We can then bring Devaney onto the bench in place of Neil Lovell, or actually probably in place of Holmes. So let's find him again. There you go. And this is the team that we're going to be going into the game against Tottenham with. It's not a great team. I mean, to be fair, I actually think if this was in the Championship, we would romp the Championship, I think. This is Thomas Vankara, 8 goals from 18 appearances in the Premier League, 11 from 22 in all competitions. I don't think you can really argue with that. Free transfer in from Watford. He's never played in the Premier League before. I think he's doing quite well, especially considering he's an old man at 32. But yeah, it's dynamics-wise, cohesion's good, club atmosphere is very good, managerial support is very good. If we look at the club vision for the board, they're disappointed that we're not playing attacking football. However, we are. We've only recently started doing it, to be fair, but we are playing attacking football, so that should change. They're very pleased with the Carabao Cup. They're pleased with pretty much everything else. If we look at the supporter side of it, they're pretty much the same. Disappointed that we're not playing attacking football. They're disappointed in our attempts to avoid relegation from the Premier Division. Now, this can be a bit of a concern, because if you go to the supporter profile, the supporters' influence on the board is 4 stars. So if they start calling for my head, then it's very possible I could be on my way out of a job, even though the board have said attempt to avoid relegation, which ordinarily means you're safe even if you get sacked. It does kind of bring me on to what we do with the rest of this Road to Glory save, because if we go and have a look at the table, here we are in 19th. Let's bring it up full screen. We're only 2 points away from getting out of the relegation zone, so we're by no means cast adrift or anything like that. And I mean, Norwich have been absolutely awful. The problem I have is, if we're not going to be able to expand our stadium or build a new one, then we can't survive on 5,000 capacity stadium. We can't get Aveley any further than what we have, I don't think. It's proving to be really, really difficult, you know. And I've got no problem with yo-yoing between the Premier Division and the Championship if I can see that there's a way forward, a way upwards. But the way it is at the moment, I don't see that way forward. I just see that the best we can do is what we're doing now. And what I don't want to do is another 5 seasons of me just yo-yoing at a 5,000 capacity seat at stadium with hardly any money to spend, and a reputation that players that we need to take us to that next level don't want to come in, you know. And we have put in a bid as well for somebody else, for Stuart Gill. He's a right winger. He wants to be a striker, but he can't be a striker. He's going to be a right winger for us. 4 stars current ability. If we look at our team, we could do with someone better than what Ewan Todd is, to be quite honest. You know, he's a good player, Ewan Todd. I've got a lot of love and respect for him, but 6.49 average rating doesn't really scream player of the year or anything like that, so we do need to improve on him. But yeah, it's something I'm going to be thinking about over the course of the next day or so while I play through the rest of this season. because I don't want to just keep yo-yoing between divisions and just not really achieving anything. I think that's just going to get very boring very quick. Let me know in the comments how you feel about it. Do you feel, the fact we've got Aveley to the Premier Division is a massive achievement in itself? Have we kind of reached their limit? Maybe we need to move on to something different, different save. We have, by the way, had another job offer from Brentford. If you remember, they offered me a job earlier on in the season, like in the summer transfer window. But they've now offered me another interview. And if we look at their managers, so they didn't sack. Thiago Motta left them to go to Benfica, I think it was. If we click on it, he went to Benfica from Brentford. They then brought in Cole Robinson. But before they brought in Cole Robinson, they offered us a job interview for that. We turned it down. They ended up bringing in Cole Robinson. Oh, no, sorry, hang on. Yeah, no, that is correct. And then Cole Robinson's left them to be the new Atletico Madrid manager. I never thought I'd see the day where Cole Robinson managed Atletico Madrid. But anyway, he left the role. They offered us the job. Or they didn't offer us the job. They offered us an interview. I turned the interview down. They then employed Jagoba Arasati, who was previously manager of Lille, Monaco, Pamplona, Numancia, Real San Sebastian, clubs like that. Got a bit of pedigree behind him, to be fair. He survived 105 days. They then offered us another interview. We've turned it down. They've now brought in John Musinho, who doesn't really have much pedigree to him at all. He's now at Brentford. He was previously at Burnley. They've now lost their manager. But before that, he was at ex-Harrogate Portsmouth as a manager. So, youngish manager, on the rise, got a pretty good profile to him. But just thought it was quite amusing when Brentford offered us a second interview in the space of a few months. We have had the youth intake preview. If I'm able to find it, I'll show you. But to be quite honest, it was absolute. No, it's not there. It was absolute bobbins. I think the best player was an E, and that's another thing that makes me think that maybe this save has kind of is reaching its natural conclusion, because we can't even get young players in through the door. When you look at our facilities, we're average, basic, all that sort of stuff. The board won't improve anything. If we don't get a tycoon takeover, then I really do think this save's finished. But anyway, I'm going to play through the second half of the season, see if we can avoid relegation, and I'll see you back in a couple of seconds to see how we got on. Don't forget to leave a like. We have survived relegation by 1 point. Oh my word, this has been hard. We have won 7 games all season. And when you look at the games we've won, twice against Norwich, Sunderland at home, Palace at home, Burnley at home, Stoke at home, Brentford at home. Our only away win all season was against Norwich. If we actually look at the away record on the table, I mean, we are terrible. 1 win, 4 draws, which were against Brentford, Bournemouth, Villa and Burnley. And then 14 defeats, 21 goals scored away from home, 43 goals conceded. We look at the home record, we're a little bit better, quite a bit better away at home. At home, we've had 6 wins, 6 draws. We've drawn against West Ham, Villa, Liverpool, Southampton, Newcastle and Chelsea. Liverpool, Newcastle and Chelsea. Them 3 games have basically kept us in the Premier League. 7 defeats. We've only scored 22 goals at home. We've not exactly been prolific, but we have conceded far less. The overall table, back to that, as you can see, 31 points. 1 point ahead of Brentford, who tried recruiting me twice. Crystal Palace, just need to highlight them. 27 points, relegated to the Championship. They're playing UEFA Champions or Conference League, Champions League, they wish, UEFA Europa Conference League football next season because they beat Chelsea in the Carabao Cup final. That is mad. If we look at the Championship at who's coming up with us, we've got Nottingham Forest or Leeds are in the playoff final. Leicester and Everton are coming up, and then it'll be either Forest or Leeds. So next season is probably going to be even tougher, especially with Leicester being up there, Everton as well. We know how good Forest and Leeds both are. But Yeah, we have survived relegation, and I'm so happy. I I finished playing through the save at about half past one this morning, and I just went to bed so happy. I had such a smile on my face, and but I thought I'd wait till this morning before I decided to record this because I think I was just suffering with euphoria last night. If we have a look at the squad quickly in terms of players that are going to be leaving for definite, Eddie Beach, Ashley Holmes, and Mark McGrath are both going to. All three of them are going to be leaving. Holmes and McGrath, two of their youngsters that came in, but they've never really made it. There will be other players that we're going to be looking at moving on. Probably Liam Miller, who's 33. I want to get rid of a lot of the old guys. Ryan Giles might stay. He's 33. He's got another year on his contract. He's looking fairly decent so far. But yeah, a lot of the others, Iger Tijon, for example, Dara Costello, and Bengui's not had a great season. He's asking to leave anyway because I won't give him a new contract. And the reason I won't give him a new contract, he's 31 years old. His contract expires in 2 years' time. He'll be 33 then anyway. I have no interest in keeping him around longer than that. Bilongo will probably go. We're looking at an overhaul of this squad, quite honestly. And if we look at the age profile that we've got here at the moment, in terms of the old statesmen, so to speak, we've got a few players that are over 30, not many, but we've got a few players that are over 30, some that will be popping off over 30 next year. Yeah, we just need to move someone on. Josh McNamara, by the way, is now a record appearance maker. I think he's made something like 220 odd appearances for us, all the way from League Two, all the way up to the Premier League and still going. The guy, he's been amazing, Josh McNamara, and he's still highly rated. Well, he's still improving. His anticipation and his concentration has improved. Will we get a new goalkeeper? Probably not, if I'm being quite honest. Now, we go to the inbox because, as you can see, the board have set the initial budgets. I've not looked at it yet. I don't know what they are. If we go by what we had last season, we had £25 million transfer budget and our wage budget was 589,000 in the end. So I think really we need around the same £25-30 million transfer budget. I think we need around 700,000 wage budget. So squad planning for next season, I'll do that at some point. Look at this, top goal scorers in the Premier League. Erling Haaland, 41 goals in 35 games. But third, Thomas Venkara, our striker, with 16 goals and an assist this season. He's the third top goal scorer in the Premier League. He is a massive reason why we've ended up staying in the league. Right, here we go. Let's check the initial budgets. Let's see what they are. Please, please, please be good. Okay, so the wage budget is only 600,000, which is like 100,000 less than I wanted it to be. We've got a transfer budget of 35.8 million. If we look at the finance, I mean, our bank balance is doing really well. We've got 38 million in the bank. This I can't see how this goes. We've got £29,000 free in the wage budget. With the other guys that are going, so we need to go back to contract expiry. I mean, that's only given us what, £6,500 with them three going. So we're probably quite reliant on what we let go this summer in terms of trying to get that wage budget up to be better than what it is. Okay, so what I think I'll do, in terms, if we have a look at the schedule, I haven't actually shown you the schedule yet. This is where we finished with the game against Brighton last time you was here. We had a FA Cup third round game against Torquay. We won 3-2 in that game. We did lose in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup to Chelsea, who then got beaten by Crystal Palace. I'm livid. If we'd beaten Chelsea, I think we could have beaten Palace. We could have been in the Europa Conference League. We then got beaten by Brighton 4-1 in the FA Cup fourth round, so there's no run in the FA Cup this year. But you just look at all these defeats. It was just torturous. It really was. And after we beat Burnley here, we then lost 3 games before we got a win against Crystal Palace. Then we went on a long, or what felt like a really long run, 4 defeats and 2 draws in the next 6 games in the league before we picked up a win against Sunderland with a 93rd minute Thomas Venkara goal. That's what I mean about Thomas Venkara. Even looking at something like that, thinking, you know what, that is the game that kept us in the Premier League. And yeah, and then after that, a defeat, a couple of draws. We then beat Norwich, and then we had a couple of defeats at the end of the season as well. It's been tough, folks. It really has. But I'll tell you what we're going to do is I'm going to play forward through the game till we get to the end of season review, and I'll bring you back for that. Right, so 3 clicks later, we got to the end of the season review, so that was pretty quick. So let's have a look at the new arrivals. And sign of the season, they're going with Stuart Gill. 3.2 million we paid for him. He's only actually made 20 appearances, 6.78. I don't agree with that. For me, sign of the season's got to be Vankara. We bought him, I think he was in on a free transfer. I mean, he must be because there's no fee there. Bought him in on a free transfer, 22 goals and 3 assists in all competitions on a 6.91. Ryan Giles has done pretty decent for us, 5 goals, 5 assists from 34 appearances. Junior Nwosu, never really knew much about him, but he seemed to do a fairly solid enough job as left back, 6.72. Stuart Gill, as we say, we paid 3.2 million for a transfer fee for him. Liam Miller came in on a free, done pretty decent as well, to be fair. Pat Bain, 2.2 million. He was mainly a substitute, but he was reliable enough when we called upon him, 25-year-old centre-back. Leighton Alessandro, at one point wanted to leave. Now he's quite happy to stay. He's made 22 appearances for 6 million. He's actually a record signing, Leighton Alessandro. 3 goals, 2 assists. Then we get to Christopher Van Eldik, 1.8 million. I mean, quite a snip, really. Pretty decent. Scored 3 goals for us. Joe Hobbs, 10 million. So he's actually a record signing. Joe Hobbs, 10 million. We did switch back to a 4-2-3-1 towards the latter part of last season. We need to actually find a formation that suits Joe Hobbs. 14 appearances, 6.48 is pretty disappointing, to be fair, but yeah, he's a record signing at 10 million. And then Dan van den Brand didn't play a single appearance for us, but according to the board, he's A+. In terms of transfers out, I mean, I'm quite happy with all of them that left. Gideon Tete, I think he was with us in the Championship. He's gone to Dulwich Hamlet. Matthew Henderson Hall, he's gone to York. Josh Karoma has gone to Scunthorpe. Zagrova has gone to CSK Moscow. He's a record sale, I think, at 1.1 million. Freddie Cook has gone to Sligo Rovers. He's only made 4 appearances there, so it's obviously not particularly good for them either. Halid Jankpat has gone to Forest Green for £300,000. Yeah, he seems to be pretty decent for them at that level. And Reece Devine has gone to Walsall. You might not actually have been aware of Halid Jankpat leaving, because I think he went in the January transfer window. But yeah, we got an offer coming. We put him up for offer, and he went for £300,000. So we was quite happy to see him go. And we also wanted to get rid of Reece Devine, got rid of him for £57,000. Talking of transfers you might not be aware of, I'm thinking Christopher Van Eldik as well. And I think you knew about Joe Hobbs. I think we had that done on deadline on the 1st of January. But Christopher Van Eldik came in a little bit later. 1.8 million from VVV Venlo. Yeah, he was what he was. Loans out, plenty of loans. Don't need to go through all of those. Some, I mean, in a way, they've all been successful because they've all been given playing time. So quite happy with that. Then we get on to a season to remember, the moments to remember. Attempt to avoid relegation from the Premier League, we finished 17th. I mean, that's been skewed by our time at Steve Tilson Stadium. Although what I will say is, in the time we've been back at Parkside with our 5,000 capacity, we've hit 5,000 in every single game. So it's going to be interesting to see if the board have any intention of making the stadium bigger, expanding it or anything, because we've got 5,186 season ticket holders and we only seat 5,000 fans. So that can't be a thing that carries on next season. Thomas Vankara is their top goal scorer. They've given us a C+. I mean, in terms of attempting to avoid relegation, I think that should be an A+ because we've done it. You know, I think C+ is a bit harsh for that, to be honest. Biggest win was a 4-1 win against Crawley in the Carabao Cup. Match remember was a 3-0 win against Stoke in the Premier League. And goal of the season came from Vankara in a 3-2 win against Burnley. If we look at the finances, I mean, blimey, sponsorship has gone up. It's now 2.01 million. Broadcast revenue massively up. Look at that. It was 2.85 million last season, up to 89 million this season. Corporate and hospitality has had a bit of a bump. Competition prize money, 7.87 million. I mean, that's for finishing where we did in the Premier League, basically. And match day commercial and retail has also had a slight increase as well. I'm hoping we're going to get a bit of a boost to our reputation since we're in the Premier League. In terms of shirt sales, 6,918 shirts have been sold. Vankara, the top one. Miller, Giles, Gill and Alessandra have also sold a healthy amount of shirts as well. If we look at our tactical style, they've gone for the 4-3-3. McNamara, Nwosu and Bengui, Curtis Sayers, Pratt, Van Eldick, Devaney, Giles, Todd and Vankara. Yeah, fine. I don't care enough about that to argue too much. If we look at the player awards, Thomas Vankara, fans player of the season. Young player of the season is Ewan Todd. Sign of the season, Stuart Gill. Again, I would have said it was Vankara, but okay. Goal of the season is Vankara. Top goal scorer is Vankara. Most assists is Ewan Todd. Most player of the match awards, Ryan Giles. Highest average rating, Thomas Vankara. And most passes completed per 90 minutes, Chidera Abassi. Then we go over to the record breakers. Josh McNamara, most league appearances by a player. He's now made 226 appearances for us. Highest transfer fee paid, Joe Hobbs, 10 million. And highest transfer fee received, Eden Zagrova, confirming that he is our top transfer fee we've received for 1.1 million. No manager of the month awards for me, no manager of the year awards for me. We get into this part. So if we just quickly scroll through, where are they now? I mean, Edward Giamfi is at Halifax Town. This, I don't know, what year is this team? Does it tell me what year? The overall best 11. I mean, if you actually have a look at the best, I mean, they're doing a 4-2-3-1. So we've got McNamara in goal, Vaz left back and Bengui right back, Cook and Shepherd in the middle, Pratt, Devaney, Benton's still in our overall best 11, Tete, Todd and Matt Rush is still there as well. For those of you that have been watching this save all the way through, that would be some blast from the past for you. That's a look back to the 2026 side. Luciano Dioria Henry plays for Eastbourne Borough. George Bowman plays for Chorley. George Fowler is at Ashford United. Shamar, the other players to feature on that side, but blah, blah, blah. You can read all that if you want. Support profile update. There you go. Season ticket holders 5,189. That's going to have to change. We can't have that as our season ticket holders. We've now got 231.3 thousand followers on social media. The supporters' influence on the board remains high. Our core is now up to 33%. Our corporate is down to 1%. You think you'd get more corporate in your ground when you're in the Premier League. Vision expectations for next season, we'll just accept those. The squad dynamics, average. I mean, I think we've done well to keep them where they are. We'll do the end of season meeting. Thank you for coming back, blah, 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 blah. I don't really want to talk to them about anything, but you all deserve to be congratulated for staving off the threat of relegation this season. We're going to work hard to make sure we're not going to be well clear of it. It's been a long season. You've all done brilliantly to stay up. You're going to need to come back fully refreshed, though, because I think we're going to be in for another. We'll go for that. Oh, my God. Oh, dear. We know not to go with that next season. I might have been asking too much. That's exactly the reaction. Now, let's get out of here because I don't want to talk to you about anything else. Oh, I hate team talks. I really do. Training camp destination, the Algarve, Portugal. Or should we go to America? I reckon we're going to go to the USA. Treat the boys to a trip to the States. And that is basically all she wrote. I'll discuss transfer plans and all that with you when we come back for the next episode next Sunday, 2 p.m. for season 11. Please leave a like on the video. Please subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you next Sunday for more Road to Glory with Aveley. And of course, I'll see you tomorrow evening, 6 p.m. for Bottoms Up with Crystal Palace.